I just want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for recognizing this amazing man, an amazing civic person who during COVID really dedicated his life to this hospital during that scary time. But not only did he do that and give him back his time, he also made sure we had enough money to pay the electricity bill. And that was very hard. So if you guys remember the wave one, you know, there were so many things uncertain. We were accepting everybody that walked through our doors regardless of ability to pay. And when you're seeing that many people and that many people not come back to your hospital, it's very scary because, you know, we're a big operation. We're 4,500 employees strong. And with that, you know, we still have to make sure we keep all those families up and running. And David, with his amazing math and advice of making sure where we spend our money and how do we do it, really kept Almost Hospital whole. And we're still seeing the benefits of that.
We are here. There isn't a single person who's here who hasn't been touched by someone who they may have known, who may have passed away, who may have suffered or been through this, correct? Right? Yes. We are not immune to that. And so knowing that you are all here and that the importance of what does it mean to rise to the occasion of to have excellence and intentionality and care and discipline in a crisis is everything that David represents. But I know that what David represents is larger than himself. It is about this hospital.
We started our day at 8:30 a.m. at the Department of Environmental Protection and the Newtown Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant, honoring Stephen Cubero, who's the plant chief. So many of us, all of us, right, turn on our faucets of water and take a cold glass of water right from the faucet to our mouths and just drink it without worry, right, that the water is contaminated or is not clean. That's some of the cleanest, safest drinking water in the country. When we flush our toilets, right, there's no expectation that the waste, right, will go anywhere other than through the sewage to an appropriate place where the waste can then be cleaned and then returned to the rivers, right? And we don't want to mix our faucets and our toilet water either. So this is a very important thing. We started this morning with Stephen Cubero at DEP, really, who started his career as an electrician, but really that's, the work he was doing is public health. Yes. From clean water to clean sanitary conditions. We're very fortunate to have that. We went then to DYCD, the Department of Youth and Community Development, to honor the Associate Commissioner, Darryl Rattray. For the last 25 years, no city programming affecting young people has been developed without Commissioner Darryl Rattray's involvement, input, expertise. Everything from our beacon schools to cornerstone programming and NYCHA developments. And what many essential workers benefited from was learning labs during the pandemic. When schools were shuttered and closed, other labs had to open up so essential workers could take their children to get education and learn while they had to do very difficult work during the pandemic. Then we went to HPD to honor Lynette Parker, who, when landlords are unscrupulous and malfeasant and do not provide heat and hot water or remove toilets from rent-controlled apartments and do not replace them, to intimidate tenants, or to even have people do loud parties or sit pit bulls on tenants to remove them from their rent-controlled apartments. Lynette Parker is the city's attorney to deal and sue these landlords and take them away from their buildings through 7A administration so that the repairs can be done and either return to another administrator or not to bad landlords to continue those conditions. That's also a public health contribution. From there, then we went to OMB. And OMB is, Tara Boyard. And OMB normally is not a fuzzy agency, right? Sometimes you think of them as most recently the 3% cuts that everybody's up to. But we honor that Tara Boyard, who it goes beyond no to find a yes in many of the requests of agencies. And when Governor's Island needed to demolish their building and construct a new one, there was a lot of reasons to say no, but she worked with them to get to yes. And there's not any project around housing or economic development in the city that she doesn't try to help the city agencies get to a yes. And then the trip right before this one, we were at Metropolitan Hospital, Health and Hospitals Corporation, honoring guests. Which are Steve, joined by CEO Cristina Contreras here as well, where we're honoring Paula Evans at Metropolitan, who, starting off in the NICO unit, needing a year of experience to be in the NICO unit, and that she was assigned within the month, and then rising through the ranks, and then contributing there during the pandemic to looking at a warehouse that was dilapidated, empty, like an old garage, and during the height of the pandemic, seeing the need to convert it into COVID beds, and making sure the HVAC system was appropriate, lighting, the different beds, working with contractors, designers, an incredible Herculean feat. And it is there that actually the festivities and the celebrations for David Guzman began. Because when we mentioned we were coming here, everybody started cheering and saying, yes, we know David, we take credit for him as well. And then Cristina says, I'm actually going to go there next to join my sister Helen. I'm not going to get into that. So here we are on our 6th stop in today's whirlwind of a tour. And we're here today. So the first part is this curated commemorative booklet that shows all 302 past Sloan Public Service Award winners, dating back to 1973, of which Elmhurst counts 3 among them. The last of Elmhurst celebrated in 2007, which was Joanne Go, at the time Deputy Executive Director of CMO. Oh, yes! So great to see you. David is continuing that tradition now to be Elmhurst's 4th Sloan Public Service Award winner. So today we want to make sure that everyone hears about it, right? And that everybody knows about the good work here at Elmhurst and the good work of David Guzman. So in order to ensure that, we made sure that the New York Times has a full-page announcement of the Sloan Public Service Award winner, including David Guzman. We want everybody to know about Elmhurst and the great work being done here, and David Guzman uplifting civil service. And also in the Daily News, there's also a full page announcement of David Guzman.
And let me turn to David after all this compliment. Am I going to see you tomorrow here? Well, let me first thank the New York Funding for this honor that you are giving to one of our prestigious employees. We all know David and work closely with him, especially me as a medical director or CMO of the hospital. I had the pleasure of working with him, fighting with him at times, and we couldn't come to some negotiation. But let me tell you that, as you mentioned about COVID and the experience that we have, and the helper that we got through the country actually, at times we have between 350 to 400 people helping us in every position. We always turn to David and say that, David, please make sure that these people get proper compensation for the service that they are providing us. One thing that is, I have a long-standing, years at Elmhurst. This is my 2nd home. And I work with a lot of executive director and also CFO and CMO, which is myself, and also the whole team. My staff, all the medical providers really appreciate and enjoy working with David. Even he's a finance person, he has a full understanding what it takes to provide a good care to our patient and community. His door was always and is still, even he is doing different and wearing different hats, his door is always open, not only to me or Helen, but to the entire staff with the need. And when it comes to patient care, he always gives the priority and find the way to really provide the coverage for the service. So as you know that we expand significantly through the year, more than most of the hospital. The only one that might compete with us, Bellevue, we are all, sister and brother. Treated a little differently, right? But we are so pleased and happy that we are working with David. Now even he's on the other side of the hall, and as a Chief Operating Officer, which I'm sure he can expand more his service to the hospital and to the community. And we are so proud that he's the recipient of this well-deserved award from the city. David, thank you, and on behalf of the entire staff, we are proud of you.
We were both mentored back at Coney Island Hospital 20 years ago. This is your 20th year anniversary, right?
It's more than 20.
Yeah. Christina, I'm more than 20. But we were mentored by this reimbursement director named Dave Sklar. And he was one tough dude. That was him. He was the one who, I believe, got David, I would say, his foundation, and molded him. Even though he was tough, there was times that David would really be frustrated because he was so hard on him. And he would come and confide in me and say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I can't deal with this. And I said, why not you? I said, why not you? And there were times where he just really struggled with what Dave was trying to do. And what I saw from a distance was that he was trying to mold him and make him as flawless as possible. You don't know this, but Dave had conversations with me where he said, I want him to replace me, and not only replace me when I retire, I want him to exceed my expectations. Well, Dave was right. You exceeded his expectations, and I think you exceeded your own. With strong finance background and skills, you could have easily taken a position in a Fortune 500 company. But you gave HHC, I slipped H&H, 20 years of your dedication of healthcare and this organization. You became a part of a community of unsung heroes here at Elmhurst. Not knowing what could have happened, you and your colleagues risked your lives to provide health care and support to a vulnerable and frightened community. The nomination also allowed me to really reflect on what David meant to me on a personal and professional level. And as I said, I've bounced around quite a bit for over the 32 years. And when we were at Metropolitan, and we ended up together, out from Coney Island, I called him immediately and said, what's the deal with Met? He said, what's the position? And I told him, and he said, you can do that with your eyes closed. Don't worry about it, I'm here. And truthfully, it made me feel more confident and comfortable that he was gonna be there. I just felt that we were gonna do amazing things, and we did. We formed a bond and a team of other colleagues that we hold near and dear. We supported each other in our wins and our losses, but we were there to support each other and celebrate each other. One of them, as mentioned, was Paula Evans. She was part of our team. And I gotta tell you, Met turned out some H&H superstars. So I have to say I'm proud to be part of that amazing team. I watched his career progress through the years. And when this opportunity opened up here at Elmhurst, it was God smiling on both of us, because I know I needed to, full circle close my career with the man who started with me. I know I'm a little older than you, but I'll be closing it a lot faster than you, but it's amazing to be landing here back again. And God has smiled on you, David. He has given you an opportunity of COO, which is, I'm so very, very proud of that. And you know, the words that you said to me was, "Are you ready to come back home?" And you meant it, and I feel it.
I promise I'm going to be very brief. I owe it to my team at Metropolitan. Like you heard, we're small family in health and hospitals. My name is Cristina Contreras. I'm the CEO of Med, and on behalf of my staff, because you were part of that family at one time, they wanted to congratulate you and extend their how much proud they feel of your accomplishments and how far you have become. And I'm so glad, I'm so grateful to Helen to allow me to come and share the wonderful celebration here.
So the team got you a little something, so you can come up as a way of also acknowledging your amazing work. Oh, it's beautiful. And just says going above and beyond.
Just really quick before I get off, I just wanted to say on the personal level, I also know David for many years. I'm not going to say how long, but we started our journey at Coney Island Hospital, and it was amazing, and I couldn't think of anyone better, because David is really a great leader, and I don't have to tell you here at Amherst, you really know. And I think on a personal level, he's always been a good partner, a good leader, and I'm very proud of his journey, and I feel like I'm a mom to him too, so I feel proud seeing you very far, and I appreciate the work that you're doing for the team here, and I'm so glad you're working so closely with Helen. I'm very proud of you.
Good evening, everyone. I am so pleased to be here, David, on behalf of the selection committee to congratulate you, and really to congratulate all of Elmhurst, because you are such a remarkable representation of what this hospital is about. You know, I've been in a CEO role before, and I know how critical it is to have a good CFO. And lots of people can do numbers. You have an economics degree, you could have gone anywhere, but you made the decision to dedicate your life to public service. And to do that, and to do it well, and to do it in a community like this one, in the midst of COVID, I remember sitting at home watching and trying to learn what was happening with COVID and seeing the news reports about what was happening at Elmhurst, and learning about all the folks that were trying to help in some way, shape, or form. And my heart went out to all the nurses and doctors and all the staff here that were trying to deal with what seemed like an impossible situation at that time. And I never thought about what was happening behind the scenes to make sure that all the things that we took for granted about operating a facility like this under such chaotic circumstances, that they were happening and happening well. You stepped up in a moment, and to be there for this team in a way that I am sure, if they all could tell you what it meant to them, we would all be sitting here in tears for a long time. But the fact that you went above what your financial training was, you saw the heart of this operation, and you stepped up knowing we needed to make sure, you know, we've got to keep the lights on. We've got to make sure our staff get paid. We've got to make sure we have PPEs. We've got to make sure, you know, everything was running smoothly. And they didn't have to worry about that because you were there.
I'm not supposed to be here. Not the Puerto Rican me, Dominican me, Latino me, not the NYCHA resident me. That's what society told me early on, or I felt they were telling me early on. I was born at Coney Island Hospital, one of HHC's, and I always call it HHC, 11 hospitals. I was raised in a nearby housing project. You could say my career at HHC began at birth, literally. My dad had immigrated to New York and was a worker in a spice factory, and my mom at the time was a stay-at-home mother with the hardest job of all, trying to keep a young boy and daughter walking a straight and narrow path. That stay-at-home mom went back to school in her 40s. Graduated from college, went on to get a master's degree, and have a great career with the DOE. Wow. She's retired from the DOE, and now my dad is enjoying her nice DOE pension. So she's my dad's sugar mommy. So growing up, my family and I were surrounded by drugs, gangs, all that comes with growing up where we did. The culture there told me I didn't belong. I went to school, I did my homework, I did well on exams. Despite all of those pressures, I graduated from high school and attended Hunter College, a poor man's Harvard. I chose Hunter College not because I could not get into private school, but because I didn't want to waste my parents' money, the government's money, only to find myself, right? Since I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. So you could say my career in finance started at that point, as even in that decision, I lived for value. So I graduated from Hunter College, a CUNY college, and I'm very proud of my CUNY education. You could consider it the H&H of education, underestimated, underappreciated, but offering amazing value and outcomes. After graduating from college, I began my H&H career at the place of my birth, Coney Island Hospital. I was a hospital care investigator. It was one of the most rewarding positions that I held. I got to directly help patients and their families enroll in insurance in our charity care program, which would help them access health care by making it more affordable to them. From then on, over the last 20 years, I worked my way through the ranks of this magnificent organization. I was promoted to various positions, such as coordinating manager, assistant director, assistant controller, associate director, senior associate director, deputy CFO, CFO, and now COO. In the midst of my journey, I also managed to go back to school and obtain a master's degree in public administration. I mention all these titles and roles that I have held in this organization, not because I'm a narcissist, but to express my profound appreciation and gratitude for the upward mobility that I have experienced, and to the spiritual force, the friends and family, many of who are here today, who held my hand along the way. They gave me the strength to walk through the doors of opportunity and walk the path that brought me here. My journey so far has spanned 3 of our beloved hospitals and a multitude of positions. And I can tell you that I was in love with every one of my positions. But before I moved on to each and every one, a little voice in my head that has been with me since the old neighborhood told me that the position was not for me, that there are others that are better suited for that role, that I should stay in my lane and be content with my current role. At every step of the way, there were amazing people who nudged me through the doors of opportunity and growth, both professionally and personally, and despite my fears and self-doubt. I walked a path that a little voice told me I was not worthy of. As I stand here today, and I look at this audience, on this hour, in this minute, now more than ever, I realize I do belong here, and I am in fact supposed to be here. Thank you very much.
So an additional part of this tradition dating back to 1973 is that each Sloan Public Service awardee gets a nice portrait of themselves. One for the workplace and one for the home. And then another part of the award, if we could come to you to the middle.
that one.
Stay away from this one. It's all mine, so.
It's a token of our gratitude.
Let's not take it back.